Morning Malaysia! Welcome to the Lim Ren En Life Success Stories series. This show is dedicated to improve the lives of people who want a positive change. I have the privilege to know many successful people throughout my career, and I have witnessed many amazing stories of successful business people who came from humble beginnings and made it in life. There is a formula of our success, and you too can be a successful person. My name is Lim Ren En. I'm a father of 4 beautiful children, an amateur bass guitarist, and a husband to a beautiful daughter. I am a senior insurance manager with AIA Berhad, a 11 times MDRT member, and also a 3 times Court of the Table member, currently serving as the country chair of MDRT Malaysia. I dedicated my life to helping medical doctors and SME business owners providing insurance protection for their families and businesses. A simple quote from the legendary George Devon: "When you see me, don't think of insurance. But when you think of insurance, see me." Good afternoon, Malaysia. Welcome to the Lim Ren En Live Show. This is the 14th edition of our live show, and today we brought you something very special. The last time we brought you Dr. Fu, the mystery of the anus, but today we're going to bring you something better. We're going to talk to Dr. Kantha Rao on the myth of erectile dysfunction. So we are going to talk about your penis, right? So today is all about penis. Ladies and gentlemen, don't feel shy about it. You love the penis. Let's face it. And Dr. Kantha is going to talk to us some simple steps in gaining back your manhood. If you're a lady, listen through, because it's going to help you. Now, as the wise man say, all men, if they live long enough, they will face one ultimate problem: erectile dysfunction, mati pucuk, manhood problem, non-performance issue are all the same. Pointing to the inability of a man to perform sexual intercourse due to insufficient blood flow to the penis. Now, be it a king or a peasant, if you can't, you can't. Now, in all history of mankind, man had tried different ways to improve and cure this problem. Until recent years, a wonder pill came called via.gra. But before that, there were all these ingenious ways to help improve erectile dysfunction with no avail. Now, this week's special guest is Dr. Kantha Rao, the only urologist from Rawang to Slim River, who will speak about this age-old man's health problem and give us some simple steps to help you improve your manhood. So, Dr. Kantha served as a urologist in KPJ Rawang, an experienced specialist that handles all illnesses from the kidney right down to your penis. So he is kind, soft-spoken, and that will help you to solve the mystery and the myth of erectile dysfunction. So let's give a warm and big welcome to Dr. Kantha Rao to our show. Welcome, Dr. Kantha.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good afternoon. It's still 3 o'clock. Good afternoon.
You're right. It's like evening to me.
Now, I will urge all of the audience out there, if you have a friend who you knew or who you feel that has a erectile dysfunction problem, please share this with him. This will help him a lot. Right now, doctor?
That's true. It's always the friend that has the problem, not the person.
It's always the friend that has the problem, not the person.
Yes.
Now, for all the men, if you have all this secret chat group, men has this secret chat group that you share all the secret things on, please share to that group right now and let them come and see, so that they won't fall into the problem of having ED and not cured, okay? You want your friend to be happy, right? So let's jump to this. Now, so doctor, thank you for coming to the show. It is so much of a privilege. Let me just sit a bit down. I'm a bit too high. It is so much of a privilege that we have you today here with us. So now, before we start with that topic, we want to know about your story, how you became a doctor and how you became who you are today. So doctor, tell us a little bit about you, about yourself, your childhood and your family.
Surely, yes, yes. So before I start, just say thank you for having me in this show.
No
Okay.
problem.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in a very small town called Tapa Road in Perak. I'm not sure many people would know where Tapa Road is. It's just about 6 miles away from Tapa. A lot of people would know where Tapa is because it's the foothill of Cameron Highlands. But Tapa Road is a branch off away from Tapa. So I was actually born and raised in a small estate called Ellington Hill Estate. My mother was a rubber tapper, and my dad was a tin miner. So we actually from quite a poor family in a small estate. But we managed to come out of this poverty because we realized that education is the way out, and that's how eventually I went to primary school in Tapa, which is known as Sekolah Rendah Kebangsaan 1, because there's also a Sekolah Rendah Kebangsaan 2 in Tapa. So SRK 1 just opposite the Tapa hospital. That was where my primary education was. And then secondary education was in a small school in Tapa Road itself. And then when I reached to Form 2, my family moved to Ipoh. And that's when I joined a school called Anderson School in Ipoh.
Hey, Anderson.
Yes, Lim, Anderson School.
I'm from Anderson.
Oh, okay. Alumni. Right.
Yes. Anderson is a good school. Now, you are from Tapa, a small, what do you call this, estate called Hellington Estate.
Correct.
It is so British, right? Hellington Estate.
In fact, the owners were British. When I was there, the British owners were still there running the estate.
That was like 40 years ago, when you're born, you know.
So, 40 plus years ago.
You are from an estate family, a poor estate family. You have eight family members, right? Something like 8 siblings.
Correct. Yeah, I'm the 8th. I'm the youngest in the family, number 8 in the family.
That is not a very privileged life, right? It is not privileged at all. It is tough, right? To be born into an estate family.
It was tough. It's a small estate in a big family, and not very well to do. But we had food on our table and clothes to wear and guidance from the family. But yeah, we came the hard way up. You're right.
Tell us about your parents. What did your parents do to bring all 8 of your family members up, and you became a doctor among? I think you're the only guy that became a doctor from the Hellington Estate.
Yes, true. I'm the only doctor from that estate.
Tell us a bit about your parents.
Yeah, true. So my dad was a great man. He was working in the tin mines. Very hardworking guy who really took care of the family. He spent all his time and effort and money to make sure that the family is well taken care of. He's a very disciplined guy and he's well loved. So he instilled that into all our family members. So all of us worked hard, and we had all these good attitudes that he taught us, which we carry until now. And on the other side, my mom is very supportive for the family. She was also a very hardworking rubber tapper. And you can imagine rubber tapping and tin mining as a general workers, you don't really get much of income, but that was adequate, and they made use of that instead of wasting money here and there and all kind of things. Then they concentrated to bring the family up, and they instilled the discipline and hard work. Basically, it was instilled in all of us from the young time that the only way out of this so-called poverty is by getting a good education. And education is something that you have to do yourself, with the help of teachers, but you have to work hard and study hard, and that's the way forward. That was instilled in all of us from the start.
So your parents are great. Your parents, your father is responsible. He took care of your family, put food on the table. Your mother was loving and caring. Now, tell us a bit of a role model in your life. Who is your role model?
Sure, yes. So in early initial stage, of course, my dad and my mom were role models, but eventually my eldest brother was a big role model for me because he was the first guy in our estate to go to a university. So it was a big achievement for our parents and our family, and all of them look up to him because being a first person to go to a university during those times is like a big deal. And so that he became quite a big role model for the rest of the family, and he's the guy who managed to bring the family slowly out of poverty, and that's how we moved from the estate to a town to Ipoh eventually. So my second role model would be my eldest brother.
Wow, wonderful. Your brother basically went to university, became an educator, and took
Yes.
the whole family out of poverty and moved to Ipoh.
Correct. Yeah. So by
Wow.
him doing that, we managed to put a stepping stool for all of us to progress further. Yeah.
Mm.
So thanks to him, and he's still a great role model for me.
I think your brother is listening. Like, would you like to say something to him now?
Oh, hello, hello. He's actually based in New Zealand now, so maybe it's a bit late there, but maybe he's listening in.
So now you did your medical degree in UM. Now in your days to do a medical degree in UM means you have to have very good grades in STPM, right? So you finish everything in Anderson, STPM, everything?
Yes, correct. So I finished my what they call as upper six this time. I don't know what they call it now, upper six. So I finished my STPM in Anderson School. Yeah, like you said, I was maybe hardworking or good enough to get good grades to enter University Malaya. At that time, that was the premier hospital, premier university for medical school. I managed to enter University Malaya for my medical school. That's great.
Now for all things that you do, I mean there's so many specialties. Why become what we say a urologist? Or doctors would like to doctors among doctors would like to tease you as the dick doctor. Why urologist?
Correct, correct. So they used to call us just the urine doctors,
The
dick doctors
urine
who need.
doctors.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the second part of my adventure. After we finishing my medical school, I did surgical masters. So I mean, in surgical masters, we go through rotations where we go through different specialties. And the thing that interested me the most during that time was urology, mainly because even before becoming a doctor, I was interested in more technical things, a lot of instruments and all this mechanics and all that. And in urology, we have lots of toys to play with. Example like scopes, lasers, and all stuffs which are very technical, and that really interested me. That is part one. Part two of it also in urology, you can see that most of the time we are able to sort out the patient's problem. Example like if the patient comes with a stone, we can get rid of the stone and the patient goes back cured, completely happy with the service. So that's what I liked about urology also, that I'm able to solve the patient's problem without saying that, okay, it's going to be a thing that you're going to come again and again. Maybe I'll try to solve it, but no, in urology, most of the time we are able to solve it for the patient. That's interested me as well.
So you like to play with toys,
Yes.
No wonder you like to play with the ultimate toy. No,
That
this
comes
this
with the job.
this part, this show has revved up so much of attention. All my friends all the mans actually is lining up to listen to what you have to say in the later part of the show. Now, if you do have any questions for Dr. Kantha, you can actually post it up and comment and react to us. We will actually take your question, whatever that we can take, we can take. Now, you can actually post as my friend has a problem. It's okay, one. We can understand. All right. Oh, my friend's friend has no problem. You know, you post that, we can accept, right, doctor? We can, right?
That's very common. I always see that, so we
Ah,
accept it. We won't tell who's that friend is. We won't tell.
yeah. Normally, it's always the friend, okay?
Friend or the
So,
uncle.
yeah, if you have any question about your private part, about your thing, please post it up, and Dr. Kantha will actually solve all your questions about your penis. All right? Now, you're a nice and soft-spoken person. From our conversation now and also our interaction before, I always find you very nice and soft-spoken. Now, is that a huge influence from your parents, or from anybody else?
Yeah, it's actually a big influence from my parents. Mainly, again, it comes from my dad. My dad is such a way that he never raised his voice against us or anybody, and he's soft spoken all the time, and he's able to listen to people's problem and solve people's problem, and that is something that I think I absorbed from him directly. So most of my family members are such as well, and sometimes it's not the best to have, maybe because if you have a confrontation, I lose out because I just give up. I just too soft. I can't say no. That's what something that my dad instilled in all of us as well.
Wow, that is some very good upbringing. I think you are one of the show is about success stories, and we bring doctors in who have amazing stories. I think you have an amazing story that came out of nowhere, right in the middle of Perak. Is I would say a poor estate, from an estate family, and came out to be somebody who is now very revered, as a renowned urologist. And I understand that even becoming a urologist, there's not many of you in Malaysia, right?
That's true. I think at the latest count, it's probably about 110 to 115 of us in the whole country.
Why is it so few urologists? There's 100,000 doctors registered in MMA, but there's only 115 of urologists. Why is that? Why is there so little of you?
Sure, yeah, because actually for urology, the training program is a little bit long, meaning that we have to finish our medical school first, work as a general doctor for a while, then become a surgeon first, work as a surgeon for a while, then join a urology training program, and the training program itself overall takes about 6 years. So overall it takes about 12-13 years before somebody becomes a urologist. So it's a long process, and a lot of assessments, exams, and a lot of hard work goes into it. So maybe that puts off some people. The other thing is also, but like you said, maybe not many people want to be called doctors who play with dick and urine. So that could be the other reason.
Not many doctors. So it's actually a 13-year kind of. It's like Dr. Naresh a few weeks before he went to vascular surgeons.
Correct.
You went to urologists, and you and Naresh are friends, right?
Yeah, very good friends, guys.
Yeah, I mean, all of you are friends. Most doctors know each other, out of 100,000. But that is an amazing story that you went through the hardship. You really studied well, even though you are not privileged, but you pushed through that story. And we heard quite a number of this story, and to hear it out from a real person is quite amazing. That hats off to you, to come from that background and made it in life. So that if there's one advice for a young person who is like you, who like you 40 years ago lived in an estate or lived in somewhere that is not privileged, what would you tell them, one young person?
Yes, basically we can't choose the environment or the family that we are born into, but we can choose how to come out of that environment if it's not the best. Meaning that the environment, of course, has lots of pressure, and you will have lots of work to do to compared to somebody who starts off with a silver spoon. Then the only way out is hard work and discipline, and more importantly is also the people you mix around with. I think that is also a big influence in my life, because lots of my friends are all very hardworking and also very disciplined people. So that is also an important thing. So basically, hard work, stay true to your dreams, and choose your friends, and do the best for the family. That's all I can say.
So I think your advice is so true. Hard work, stay true to what you want to do, right? Stay true to the dream, and choose your friends.
Yeah.
And work hard for the family. Fantastic advice for young people. So before we jump into erectile dysfunction, I just want to show. Today we are going to talk about penis, right? But next week, I just want to, just a midweek advertisement for 15 seconds. I just want to show who is coming to our show next week. Next week, we will feature sorry, I was muted just now. Let me just do this. Next week we will talk about this. This is our next week's guest, Lenoran Low, a radio DJ to bodybuilder. She is the influencer that has done it all. she represented herself in Malaysia to attend this WFF Bodybuilding World Fitness Federation show, and she won third prize 2 years ago. So next week we will have her in our show, right? So let's dive back to Dr. Kantha and let's talk about erectile dysfunction, doctor.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm still here.
Yeah.
I was amazed with that picture that you showed just now. She puts me to shame.
Of course, that is Lenora Lowe, our next week's guest, and
Yes.
she has done it all, from radio DJ, MC, right down to a bodybuilding competitor. So quite amazing. So let's talk
Very
about erectile dysfunction, doctor.
Sure.
Now, what actually causes erectile dysfunction?
Yes, so erectile dysfunction. I would like to start off by saying that erectile dysfunction is actually a symptom rather than a disease, meaning that it's not a disease on its own. It is a symptoms coming from a wide range of conditions, and presents with the condition where the person is not able to maintain erection adequately and long enough to complete sexual intercourse. So we can see lots of causes for it. A lot of them are modifiable causes, we call it. Example, I'll give you an example. Best cause example is smoking. We know for sure that smoking causes erectile dysfunction. So the other causes are including things like high blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol issues, as well as other things like depression, sadness, and also issues where people take different kinds of drugs which can cause erectile problems. So a wide range of issues, so we have to tackle each one individually to see which one we can modify for the person.
So basically you're saying ED is actually a blood flow problem, It is because the blood cannot go through the penis, right? Not
Correct.
enough.
Correct. So that's what erection. Basically, erection is blood flow into the penis. There's no bone or any mechanism that keeps it erect. It is just blood flow going into the penis, making it rigid and hard, and something to stop the blood flow from coming back. So any issues that gonna cause problems with the blood flow anywhere in the body, the penis will be one of the first one affected. In fact, it is mentioned that if somebody has erection issues, it could be a marker, like that patient may have an issue that eventually it's going to affect the heart or the brain blood vessels. So it is like a marker for people who's going to have heart disease or cerebrovascular disease or stroke. So if you have erections, that could be the erection issues. That could be the first sign that there's something wrong with the rest of the body.
So basically what you're saying is that it can be a alarm for your health. If you have an erectile dysfunction, means your blood flow is not really going very well. Am I saying that?
Correct. So one of the first organ that shows the problem could be the penis with the erection issue, long before it shows in your heart or the brain.
So all the men outside, if you're listening, if you have an ED problem, you better go and get yourself checked out, right?
True.
Better go and get yourself checked out.
Yeah.
But let's just solve the problem first, right? Let's just try to solve the dick problem. Now, there are some methods, simple methods to improve this. Now, we're going to show you some pictures and some slides. Can you talk us through this? What are the methods, the most simple methods actually, before we go to the mechanical part? Can we go to the medical part? What are the ways to actually solve ED? What are the easiest ways?
All right. Okay. So, like I mentioned just now, sometimes there's predisposing causes to it. So, I'm coming back to smoking again. We know for sure that people who smoke will have erection issues, and if they stop smoking, and over a period of time, we can see that the erection may be able to improve. That is one. So, all these modifiable factors has to be modified first. If the person has diabetes, good control of diabetes has shown to improve erection. If the person has high blood pressure, by controlling hypertension, we can see that the erection improves. Same thing with cholesterol levels. High cholesterol levels with no other symptoms except for erectile dysfunction. You control the cholesterol levels, the erections have a chance to improve. Obesity is also a cause. By losing weight itself, most people's erections can improve. Activity, physical activity. So if you do lots of physical activities, which will improve the blood flow in the body, which will also improve the blood flow to the penis, and erection automatically improves as well. So all these modifier factors has to be modified first. Then we come to medications. All right.
So you're saying stop smoking, stop drinking?
Well, alcohol is a lesser factor than smoking, but of course, and it's moderate alcohol.
People say alcohol improve erectile, you know. Is that
I
true?
think because, I think because when they are drunk, everything looks improved.
Everything looks improved. So stop smoking, reduce weight, and exercise.
Yes,
That's simple enough. That's like taking care of your heart, right?
true. Exactly like I mentioned just now. So this is a precursor. Before the heart problem comes, the penis problem comes first. So you can sort it out at the penis problem. Maybe it would not progress to a heart problem.
Right. This is something this is mind opening. If you solve the penis problem, you might have a chance to solve the heart problem.
Might.
Okay, that is fantastic. So what is that wonder pill? You know, Viagra. Now before Viagra, there's something that I sold last time as a rep. It's called the Muse. Can you tell us a bit about the Muse?
All right. Yes. Before Viagra came into the market, there was this thing called Muse. It's called a medicated urethral system, where it comes with a mechanism where you try to put in a small pill through where you pass urine. I can imagine it not to be a comfortable thing to do. So you would have been difficult for you to be a salesman selling this thing.
Oh, of
But
Tell
I
me
can say
about
that. But I can say that once you put the pill inside the where you pass urine, the urethra, it does give quite good erection for people with erectile dysfunction. It is a medication that actually works, but it's a little bit uncomfortable to put in. So in a way, it has lost the market out as soon as the magic blue pill came into the market.
Yeah, the magic blue pill is Viagra. I still remember the first year I joined the company. The sales director told me, you know what, we're gonna outsell the magic blue pill. In my heart, I say, you can forget it. How are you gonna put something in the small mouth than the big mouth? People would rather put in the big mouth, right? The small mouth down there. You know, so within 1.5 years after I left the company, the product stopped production. Gone.
Yeah.
Muse is gone. So tell us about Viagra. Viagra, is this such a wonder pill? If you take it long term, will it give you problems or not?
Right. Okay. So Viagra, I'll tell you something about Viagra. Actually, when the company came up with this Viagra, they were not actually looking for a drug for erectile dysfunction. They were looking for a drug to control high blood pressure, hypertension. And during the testing phases, they found out that when people take this drug, their erection improves. So instead of concentrating on the blood pressure, they decided to concentrate on the erectile dysfunction, and that's how the magic pill came about. Okay, so Viagra is, of course, there are a few other medications in the same group, but the first one and the most famous one is Viagra. And well, it works. And your question is whether people will get dependent on it. Yeah, the dependence is not really because of the drug. It's because the person already has erectile dysfunction and looks like he may need medication. And once he's taken this medication, he will feel that the erection has drastically improved. And without the medication, the erection is not going to be there. So in that way, he may become dependent to the drug, but not because the drug is like an addictive dependence. The other thing is whether it will become, meaning that it eventually may not work because the person gets desensitized to it. But as long as the other parameters in the person is all right, the drug is expected to work as long as it can, meaning that he can continue to take for many, many years without issue.
So as long as the person don't go non-sensitive to the medicine, it can go on and on and on. So
correct. Yeah.
The blue pill, of course, is the most famous erectile dysfunction drug. There is another two more drugs in the market, right? It's called what? Cialis, and the other one is
Levitra. These are the
Levitra.
three famous ones. Yeah.
So which is better out of these three?
Right. Okay. So there are lots of researchers comparing all these three. So all three work. It's just that sometimes you need to individualize certain medications, meaning that some medication may work better in one person compared to another person. Having said that, big difference between Viagra and Cialis is that Cialis lasts much longer in the blood, meaning that the research shows that it's supposed to last about 36 hours in the blood. So the person can have a wider window for him to plan for a sexual activity, meaning that if you take this drug for the next 36 hours, you may be able to get good erection with the effect of the drug. Whereas Viagra is expected to work maximum for about 12 hours. So they have to plan for the activity before they take the medication. Otherwise, it's a wasted medication. So the longer window could be good for some people, but some people may prefer a faster acting thing that Viagra claims they have. So it's a very individual thing. So some people try out one after another before they choose this is the best one for me.
So to put it in a nutshell for a consumer like us, so if you want action tonight, Viagra. If you want action anytime within the weekend, Cialis, correct?
True. On top of that, Cialis also have another variety where you take a lower dose, but you take it every day. So you can be ready for action any time of the week.
Okay. I must pull a question from the from this one I'm supposed to ask, but I'm gonna pull a question from the crowd. So
Sure.
I have a guy here ask, is there any side effect on medication or not?
Yes. So any medication will have side effects. So we'll have to balance between the benefit and the risk. But when we talk about side effects, example, I'll just talk about Viagra because the other drugs are almost equal. When we talk about side effects, a lot of the side effects are very short-lived side effects, including things like headache, a backache, you feel warmth in your body, and your heart may beat a bit faster. These are all transient side effects. If you're asking me things like, will I die of a heart attack if I take this pill? No, unless you have a heart issue. If somebody does not have a heart issue, or you're not taking some medications that we call as nitrates, these medications are fairly safe. Having said that, I would like to emphasize that before you try these medications, if you're needed, you should seek the help of a doctor, advice of a doctor. Let him check you out first. Make sure that it's safe for you to take before you take it. But the side effects are minimal. Most people are able to accept it without any long-term effect.
Okay, so basically there's not much of a side effect. So I hope we answered you that. I'm sure Moses doesn't have the problem. He's asking for his father, right?
Yes. Correct.
So now the other thing, what if medication doesn't work? So what is the next course?
Yes. So we have a few options. We go step by step, meaning that if the medication doesn't work,
I'll put on the slide for you.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So this is one option. It is called a vacuum pump. So this instrument comes with a motorized vacuum system where once the penis is inserted into this device and you switch it on, the vacuum causes the penis to enlarge and distend and becomes hard. But to keep it hard, you need to put this constriction ring, the rubber band at the base of the penis to keep it hard. So this is one option, but not many people prefer this because it can be a little bit uncomfortable, especially at the ring area. And the penis itself, because of the erection, because of the blood flow which is stopped there, it may feel a bit cold and a bit unnatural. So one option, the next picture will show you the same thing about how the ring sits in the penis.
So the next picture, let me show you the next picture.
Yeah, this is how the vacuum pump works and try to keep the penis rigid. So this is one option. Another option, the next slide will show you that there is a medication which we can inject directly into the penis. So it works well, but also may not be very acceptable for patients because you need to inject a small needle directly into the penis. This is a small needle, just like how the diabetes patients uses for their insulin. Definitely works, but whether acceptable to the person, if it's acceptable, it really works, and you'll be surprised, even though it may not be comfortable, but quite a number of patients are quite happy with this drug and they are on this injection.
Now, doctor, tell me, I mean, the rubber band looks
Yes, uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable.
It is
People
here, right?
describe
The
it
rubber
as-
band
yeah,
actually constrict the blood flow.
constrict penis blood, and the problem is because of that you will have the very flexible penis as well, because only beyond the rubber band the penis is not hard.
Beyond the rubber band, the penis is not hard.
To the back, I mean.
Or to the back, the penis is not
Yeah.
hard. So where do
yeah.
you want to put the rubber band? Here, here, or here?
You put it here at the base here, at the base here. So the front here is hard, but the down here is not. So it'll be very, you need to aim it manually, and it'll be cold because there's no blood flow. It'll be cold, and when there's ejaculation, it may not be comfortable because there's a ring blocking the ejaculation there.
Okay.
But for people who don't have any erection, painful erection is better than no erection.
Okay, I can get it. So let us just go back to this.
Yeah.
You are saying that this is actually like a needle. It is like an injection. Tell me, how big is the needle? Show us by your hand, how big is the needle?
It's a very small needle, difficult for me to show here, but it's like similar size to the insulin needle. People inject insulin sometimes up to 2 or 3 times a day into their abdomen part. Similar small needle. So actually the injection itself is not too painful, but whether the person can do it or not, because a lot of people have needle fear, needle anxiety. So otherwise it's not too painful. The injection itself is not too painful.
The fear of putting a needle in the penis, sometimes put it in the finger also got problem. Not say put it in, this is worse than putting a pill into that, right?
Yeah, it's actually the same medication that the pill they put inside. Instead of the pill putting inside there, you are injecting it directly into the penis.
So all the audience out there, today's topic is educational. Just take it as educational. You guys need it anyway. So if you have any question, please ask. We are non-judgmental. We will take any question, and we will try to do that. All right, try to answer all your questions. Now let's talk about something more radical. We have more, right, to go.
more options.
Let's talk about something more radical. What is this? This looks like a gun shooting through the penis.
Yes, it is actually a gun shooting at the penis, but what is shooting out is actually sound waves. Like I told initially, the erection is actually a blood flow issue, and we know that by shooting shock waves into the penis, it actually improves the blood supply to the penis, and it can improve erection. This is a new technique actually, and so lots of research are still going on, and we do have this instrument in Malaysia. A lot of patients have tried it. Some are happy, some are not happy, but to a certain extent it does work. So just shooting shock waves or sound waves onto the penis to improve the blood supply.
Now, can you buy this thing and use it at home?
Yeah. Well, it's an expensive instrument for you to buy and keep at home, and it's not supposed to be a treatment that you do every day at home. It's supposed to go on like maybe about 15 sessions or 20 sessions, then you stop, then hopefully the erection is all right, or maybe a year or two later you may need to do this treatment again.
Okay. How much is this treatment? Do you do it in your clinic?
I don't have this machine in my clinic, but on average it usually costs about 7,000 to 8,000 for the whole session, full session.
Okay. So it is still something. So when are you going to get a machine like that, doctor?
Well, anytime. Actually, I don't have the machine in my clinic, but I can get the machine to come in because the company is willing to bring it in. Anytime a patient needs it, I can offer the service to the patient.
Okay lah, means you can do it lah. Okay. So
yeah.
What if this doesn't work? Then what happens? So I'm gonna show the next one is surgical, right? The next thing is surgical, yes. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So what is this, doctor? This is like putting a huge rod into the penis.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's exactly what this is actually, because we know that, like just now I said that the erectile tissues in the penis is gone. So we are replacing that erectile tissue with this piece of rod. These two rods sitting inside the penis actually, they are malleable, meaning that they are flexible rods. You put it inside there, and anytime you need an erection, all you need to do is straighten up the rods and you get the erection. The rods are staying inside at the same size and same hardness. That means your penis will always be same size and hard. So it may not be comfortable for you to hide the penis inside the pants because it could be obvious bulge, a little bit bulge there. But whenever you need an erection, all you need to do is straighten up these rods and you get an erection. And this is a surgical thing that we need to put inside. It's supposed to give you normal erections, normal orgasms as well as normal ejaculation. And it works, but it's something that we have to do surgery to put it inside.
So, if I look at it, it's actually just I just use this. It's actually more like a pen inserting into your penis.
Correct.
And then
Two pieces of pen on the side of the penis.
okay, it's a flexible thing lah. So when you need it,
It
you
is
just
normally like that.
raise
it's
it
bent.
up like
Correct. You raise it up.
you raise it
and
up.
it's ready for action.
But is it the same? Seriously, will it feel the same when you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Will it feel the
Basically,
same now?
It'll never be exactly like the same one, but it's hard enough. It's hard enough and it's straight enough for you to be able to have successful sexual intercourse. That's the aim of this thing, right?
So once you raise this up,
Yeah.
even though the outer tissue is still soft because no blood flow,
Yeah.
you can
a
still
little-
penetrate.
Correct. You'll be able to penetrate because it is stiff already. So with it being stiff, the penetration can happen. It may be a little bit soft because the rod occupies the most of the penis already, you see. So if you touch it like that, you will feel it's hard. But unfortunately, when the penis is flaccid, that means the penis is not erect, it is also hard. It's just that it's pointing down instead of pointing up. So most of the time, the issue is when it's not being used for erection issues. That's when it's not comfortable because you see this hard thing inside the pants all the time. But when you need it, when you straighten it, it does its job.
Okay, this is something very interesting. Now you call this the culture version of a surgical, what do you call a surgical solution to erectile
Surgical
dysfunction?
solution.
And there's
Yes.
a Rolls Royce kind of surgical, right? Erection.
Yeah, you have to destroy the actual tissue inside the penis and change it with these rods.
So, but you have a better version, right?
So
now,
there's
before we
always
go
a
back to the
Mercedes-Benz version of the
Mercedes-Benz
car.
one, okay, how much will it cost us to actually do this?
So this one we call it as malleable implant. On average, it will cost you about 20 plus to 30,000, including the surgery to put it in.
So this is going to cost you 20 to 30,000 to replace the what do you call this? Replace the thing and also put it in.
Correct.
Okay. So let's talk about this. This is what you call the Mercedes-Benz kind of this one. So
Yes.
what is that? Just now what we saw. What is that?
Okay, so this one is also a penile prosthesis that we put inside. It is what we call as inflatable implant. So it comes with three parts. You do have this cylinder sitting inside the penis, just like the malleable one just now, but these cylinders are empty. That means your penis is soft and small when you are not erect. Then we have a reservoir and a pump. This pump actually sits in the scrotum besides the two testes, besides the two balls. So whenever you need an erection, you press this pump and this pump causes the water from the reservoir to go into the cylinders and you get an erection. And this erection feels more natural compared to the malleable one just now. And this also is supposed to be able to give you normal orgasms and normal ejaculation sensation as well. And the best part is, once it's done, you press the pump again and the penis becomes soft and flaccid again. And it's easier to hide inside the pants compared to the malleable.
So that thing is actually a pump system. So let me just put it in my layman term. It is a pump with a button between your balls. You squeeze the button. It has an
Correct.
electric motor inside.
There's no motor. It's a great invention in such a way that the reservoir fills with water, and when you press the button, the reservoir actually collapses and pumps the water into the cylinder. There's no battery, no mechanical parts involved actually. It's just water flow inside.
But how does the water flow back to the pump?
Because when you press the pump, it has like a valve inside. So because the reservoir is like a negative vacuum as well, so depending on the flow of the water inside, basically the pump directs the flow of the water from the reservoir to the cylinder or the cylinder to the reservoir.
Oh, that's pretty smart, right? So let's look
Yeah,
at it
smart.
again. So basically,
Yeah.
you press that thing, and then it will give you an erection, and then you do your business.
Yes,
Once you're done, you press again. That thing goes back.
goes back.
So your girlfriend won't even know.
Well, if she feels the balls, you'll feel that extra ball there, so she may be able to find out.
Okay. But
Otherwise,
how?
from the outside, it'll look like a very natural erection. Yeah,
So this is the Mercedes-Benz one. Now, how much
yeah,
does this cost? How much does this
yeah,
thing cost a person to do?
correct. So we will estimate it'll be between 45 to 50,000 for the entire thing, meaning that this pump, including the surgery to do it, will set you back by about 45 to 50,000.
Okay. So 45 to 50,000 is still better than taking a lot of tongkat ali lah.
Yeah, I mean, it can give you a good erection.
Well, hopefully one day I do not need this. But now, how many have you seen doing this?
Well, it is not a very common choice by people, mainly because one is cost. Second thing is it is kind of like a permanent thing, because before we can put this in, we have to get rid of the erection tissues inside the penis. And that's a permanent removal that we do. Not removing the penis, but the content inside the penis for us to put in the cylinder. So, I mean, it's quite popular in the Western countries. In Asia, people are a little bit more. I think a lot of time is because many people don't know about this option. And second issue is, of course, the cost issue. So the numbers are not that great, but we have experience of doing this in Malaysia.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Now, I would like you to just go back and a little bit more to. There's one question by Lenora, who is our next week's guest. She
Okay.
asked a very long question. Oh, very long.
That's quite long.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Let me just put this away first. Let me just put this away. Yeah, it was just too big to. So let me just ask this question by Lenora, because
Sure.
the picture was just too big to. I don't know what happened. But anyway, Lenora was asking. Now, is there a holistic way to actually eradicate erectile dysfunction? But I think just now in the beginning of the show we did say that already, right? So the root
Yes.
cause is a lifestyle and all that. Can you just reiterate that question for her?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, that's a good question, because at the end of the day, before we go to this medication, surgeries, and all that, go back to the basics, because a lot of things that can be modified, like I mentioned in the start, things like smoking, control your blood pressure, control your diabetes, control your cholesterol levels, physical activity, lose weight, and a healthy diet, and all that. All these are big factors in trying to manage erectile dysfunction. Also, another factor that I did mention briefly was about other factors like psychological factors, meaning things like depression and sadness and all that will definitely affect erection as well. So those are also modifiable, but you may need extra help from psychologists or psychiatrists to do that. So if somebody has depression and you expect him to have good erections, it may not be possible. So all these factors that we look into, and we have to tackle each one individually, even before we talk about medication. So modify first, whichever can be modified.
So as what I understand from Dr. Kantha just now, they are saying about lifestyle. So erection is actually a blood flow issue. Your blood flow is not going to the penis, that's why you don't get an erection. So you are saying exercise, lose weight, and what the other thing was, exercise, lose weight, and smoking, don't smoke. All right.
Control your problems like blood pressure, hypertension,
Blood pressure, depression, and all that.
cholesterol. Yeah.
So basically, you can actually solve this right now.
Well, if the people can come and see us in the initial stage when they already have a little bit of erection problems, and we look through their what is behind this. A lot of time when we control the example, like let's say the person's erection is due to very high blood pressure, we control the blood pressure, the erection actually improves. And but that has to be early on. Let's say the person has been having this erectile issue for 10 years because of hypertension, it's not controlled. Some of the damage is maybe not reversible anymore. So that's why you need to come in early to seek for advice.
So I have another guy. Same thing. Moses is asking for his father again.
Yeah.
This is
Moses,
good son. Moses is asking with his father again.
that's
He's
good son.
asking, would you recommend traditional medicine?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there are lots of traditional medicine outside there which is supposed to be able to cure or improve erections. Lots of medical research has been done also. I have to say that there are quite a lot of herbal stuff and all that which do have a little bit of help. They do little help a little bit in terms of erection because at the end of the day, the chemicals that are found in these herbs may be able to mimic Viagra or may be able to mimic testosterone, which is the male hormone, to improve erection. But having said that, you have to be able to get a good quality medications. But the improvement is not that great in the sense that uh, I see that maybe it'll help them a little bit, but it's not still not adequate, and they still have to come for proper medication. I can give you one example. As some people have taken kopi tongkat ali before, and
Laki-laki kuat.
yeah, correct. Lots of those, kopi kuat, isn't it? Kopi laki kuat.
Kopi kuat jantan or something.
Correct. I'll give you one story about that. Where a few years ago, there were lots of patients who took this particular brand of kopi tongkat ali, and they reported that the erection actually improved very well. So they were quite happy. So what the ministry, the pharmaceutical side and the ministry did is that they took the samples to the lab to check, and what they found out is that, oh, of course it works because they have Viagra powder inside. And that's why they work so well.
So basically, it's not the tongkat ali that works, it's the Viagra powder lah.
I think lots of things that you find in the market, they're adulterated with Viagra or equivalent drugs. That's why they work. But having said that, Tongkat Ali does have a little bit of effect. When they tested it in mouse, they found that the mouse erections, the rat erections, did improve. But whether they translate to human or not, we have not seen the research to say that yet.
Now, I have another question from another guest. This person is also asking for his friend, for his client. Now,
Sure.
this is a friend of mine. He's asking, what is the cost of a bent penis? And is it reversible? The insurance refuse to cover for this surgery. Yeah, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, okay, so I'll answer the last question first. The insurance part, you asked him about it, I'm not sure. Okay, bent penis is totally different from erectile issue. It is what we call in medical term is a Peyronie's disease, meaning that there is some scarring in the penis. One part of the penis, there'll be scarring. What causes the scarring? Sometimes it's an injury or it just happens on its own. So it can be corrected. But if it's just a little bit bent and the person is still able to have sexual intercourse, we do not recommend any correction for it. But if it's so bent that they're not able to have any proper penetration, then we can do surgical correction to remove the scar tissue so that you straighten the penis back. It is possible to surgically correct it, yes. I have to say, whenever it comes to erections issues and all that, a bit difficult to get the insurance to cover for you. But I think because one of those exclusion criteria in the policies when you buy it.
There is actually no exclusion for surgery to the penis.
Sure.
I mean, I've been in the business for 20 years. I have not seen a word of an exclusion on surgical to the penis. But if you had an accident and so happened the accident, something whacked the groin area, and if you need a surgery on the penis, you have to, right, in an accident, right? It cannot be excluded, right? But let me just ask you, the bent penis thing. Most men has a bent penis, right now?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's never 100% straight penis, so that is not.
It's always
possible.
either like that, a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So that's why I said when it's bent a little bit, when it's bent a little bit.
Yeah.
When it's a little bit, but you're still able to have a proper penetration and complete the sexual intercourse without an issue, it's not an issue. It becomes an issue when it's bent so much. You can even have a penis that is bent like that. So that's not possible for you to have a penetration. So those are the ones that may need surgical correction.
So it can be solved. It just needs surgical. So
yes.
One more question before we go into kidney stones and all that. Just last one. This guy is asking, doctor, if let's say you have very few sperm, does it affect erectile dysfunction or not?
Okay, sure. Okay, so those are two different problems actually. People who have good erections may have poor quality sperms. People who have poor quality sperms may still have very good erections and ejaculation and all that. Two different problems, but there is a one point there where sometimes it's related in the sense that if people who have low testosterone, low male hormone, they can have both problems at the same time. Poor sperm quality as well as poor erection because their male hormone is a bit low. Otherwise, there are two separate problems. I have seen many patients who have good erections with poor sperm quality, and infertility is that issue. So that has to be looked into why. But there's no very strong direct relationship except for the testosterone part.
So basically, it is not a related issue lah. Huh? So we can
Yeah.
still have very good sex life but no children.
Correct, you're right.
Right lah. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about a little bit about the other things that you do. You are taking care from the kidney right down to the penis, right?
Yes.
So your bread and butter will be stones. You take care of a lot
Correct.
of stones. Yeah.
Correct. Because in Malaysia, stones are very common. So stones of the kidney, the urinary tract, we call it, is managed by the urologist. So we manage stones. So bulk of our urologist work in Malaysia is on stones. So yeah, we are the ones who treat the kidney stones. Also, anything related to the kidney, to the ureter, bladder, prostate, meaning that if the cancer of the kidney is also under urologist, prostate issue where the patient having problems passing urine and all that, and even prostate cancer is also under the urologist. So anything that needs surgery or surgical intervention related to the kidney and the urinary tract all the way up to the end of the penis or the urethra is under the care of the urologist.
Now let me just bust a myth. A lot of people thought that urologists only take care of men. It is not true, right? You take care
Yeah.
from the kidney right down to the urethra, which means you take care of ladies as well, right?
Correct. So you are very right in that sense that people have that myth thinking that urology is a men's department, because lots of urologists are men, but the patients we treat both men and female. So if a female has a urethric stone or a kidney stone, it's still being treated by a urologist. If a lady has a problem passing urine or emptying her urine or she's leaking urine, is also managed by the urologist. So we do have quite a bit of female patients. I'll say it's about 70% men, 30% female patients that we see.
So let's answer a few more questions. There's quite some question coming in. We
Yeah.
have from yes, he is asking, can cholesterol be the cause of erectile dysfunction or not? Can it be
Yeah.
one of the causes?
Definitely. So that was one of the first things that I mentioned just now as well. So blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol. We have seen research showing that people with just isolated high cholesterol levels with erection issues, if you take medications to control the cholesterol, the erection improves. So that is definitely a known cause of erectile dysfunction, hypercholesterol we call it.
So it is possible, right?
Yes,
Cholesterol
possible.
can be. Now,
Yeah.
so just one or maybe two last question, doctor. Should our wives and girlfriend come along to learn about erectile dysfunction? Would this help the man?
True.
Should they come
I mean,
along?
yes, because at the end of the day, we have to see this erectile dysfunction as a couple's problem. Because if the man cannot perform, the women is also not being affected by that. So we usually encourage the consultation to be in a couple, because the man may need the support as well in the terms of how to come out of it. Example, let's say about smoking. If you know that the guy's erection issue is because of smoking, and we tell the guy to quit smoking. So he may try on his own, may not be successful, but with the wife's or partner's help, the success rate will be higher. So if the wife also understands the issue, so she'll be able to support the husband more. And also people who have erection issues who may need to be on medication, example like via.gra, which you have to plan the activities and all that when you want to be together and all, you see. So the ladies part play a big role, not only on the support, but as well as the entire treatment and managing the person will be very, very enhanced if the partner can be directly involved in the management.
So, ladies, listen up. It is not the man that needs it only. You will need to come and see the doctor as well, so that you have a holistic planning on your
Correct.
happiness, right?
True, correct,
So,
correct.
now, where can our audience find you, doctor? Where can they find you if they have a kidney problem, or they have a kidney stone problem, or urinary tract problem, or urinary tract infection, or if a man has an ED problem? Where can they find you?
Yes, so I am working in KPJ Rawang Specialist Hospital. This is the only private hospital in Rawang area. So I'm here full time. So I think my number will come out down there if you need to contact me, my clinic. So KPJ Rawang Specialist Hospital is where I'm based at.
All right. So Dr. Kantha is based in KPJ Rawang. You can see his number coming up very soon. Dr. Kantha is the only urologist. You cannot miss him in KPJ Rawang. There's no other than him, you know. So you can go and see him. You are always soft-spoken, very nice, very kind to your patient. And I can promise you, he'll be gentle with you. You know, I have my fair share of having urologists stuck their fingers into my, you know where, to get my prostate check and all that. But he will be gentle with you. I can promise you that, right? So, Dr. Kantha, thank you so much for coming up. Before we end the show, do you have anything else you want to tell us?
Well, I would just like to say that, you know, whatever with any medical conditions or medical issues, try to get the proper advice from the start itself, because if you rely on Google, you'll always end up with the diagnosis of cancer. That's all. Put any symptom into Google, you'll get cancer. So, you know, don't rely too much on that. Seek face-to-face advice from doctors, irrespective of whatever medical condition we're talking about, not only erection issues. And live a healthy life, and you know, it's all back to basics: healthy food, healthy diet, and good amount of exercise. Be happy, and you know, you'll be healthy.
So Dr. Google will point everything to cancer.
You try it out and see. Just put any symptom inside, it's cancer.
That's scary, right? Dr. Google. Okay, please stop believing Dr. Google. Dr. Google doesn't work, right? It is so funny. Everything. First time I hear, you know, so I'm going to ask my staff to stop consulting Google.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kantha, for coming on the show. Okay, now thank you so much for coming up to the show. You know, it is amazing to have you here and listen to your story. And I think you've solved a lot of men's problem, their question, you know, and you've gave them so many more choices rather than just having the blue pill. They have so many other choices. Right now. So today I think it is so beneficial. Everybody knows that you can actually take care of your weight, stop smoking, less drinking, take care of your health before you go into the blue pill, before you could do the injection, and ultimately you do not want to do the surgery. But if you have to, see Dr. Kantha. If you have to, see Dr. Kantha. Thank you so much for coming up to the show, but do not go first. For all the audience out there, I'm going to show you what is happening next week. This is happening next week. This is Lenora Low. This is the radio DJ turned bodybuilder, influencer. She's an MC, she's a coach, she's a bodybuilder. She has done it all. The person that has done it all, she will be on our show next week, and she will be a blast. You know, it is so exciting to have her on our show next week. She will tell us her journey from a radio DJ right now to competing as a bodybuilder. So it will be very interesting, right? So again, thank you, Dr. Kantha, for coming in. You're on again. Thank you for coming in. This is Limerick Live. Until next week, we will see you again, and we will see Lenora No coming up to the show. See you next week, same day, same time, Saturday, 3 p.m. at night. Thank you.